So I went to the United States to attend NEARfest, and looking out of the window 3 hours after takeoff, I realized I wasn't the only one going west. In terms of food, it turned out to be an Italian trip, though. I arrived in Philadelphia and headed straight south. It had 104 degrees Fahrenheit. It was way too hot. Once I arrived in Baltimore, I checked into the hotel where they had two kinds of toilet paper, the soft one and the even softer one. Then I went to the Otto Bar to the Insubordination Fest 2012, headlined by Dr. Frank of the Mr. T Experience. He rocked. On Friday, I returned to Pennsylvania. It was time for the NEARfest apocalypse. NEARfest is a 3-day event of progressive rock music at the Solna Arts Center in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. My favorite band of the first evening were Aranis from Belgium. After each band's performance, there was an official autograph session, and look how orderly it was. But actually, the whole weekend was filled with informal mingling and meeting and greeting of bands and fans alike. Breakfast. In between shows, there was some time to see the Lehigh Valley River, explore the town, see Moravian College, where Richard Schindel went some time ago, buy books in the local bookshop, and discover the chocolate lab, where they sold chocolate-covered pretzels. Then it was time for Guard, one of my all-time favorite bands, and boy, were they good. I loved every second of their show. Wahoo!
It could be the greatest performance of their lives. Yeah, I missed the beat.
I missed this
You know, yeah. So I won't sleep for a week.
Yes, but I need to punish myself.
This was the line for the Guard autograph session afterwards. A lot of people loved the show and were raving about it. Look at all these people who have a good taste in music. It was there that I also got a chance to chat with Ala Sona, Guard's mixer. He actually played tambourine on one of my favorite Roxette tracks, Keep Me Waiting. Sunday morning saw an excellent and well-received performance by Gösta Berlingssager from Sweden. This was the venue. I liked it very much. Even in the back where I sat, the view and the sound were excellent. The atmosphere was great. Everybody was so into the music. It was a joy to see the bands perform and to be there. Thank you to the organizers and everybody involved for making this last NEARfest such a wonderful affair. The sky was crying the next morning, as if to show it's sad that NEARfest was over. But the weather got better and I went to Nazareth, home of the world-famous acoustic guitar manufacturer Martin. The factory's museum had a lot of impressive instruments on exhibit, including the first guitar in space. Eventually I did some real regular vacation stuff, like hiking on the Appalachian Trail at the Delaware Water Gap. Look, it's Mount Tammany in the background, and down there is the interstate. Here is another view, closer to Mount Mincy. Nom 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 nom. And then there was more hiking. I was surprised how few people were there. I mean, it was rather hot, but all the trees gave a lot of shade and it was just beautiful and enjoyable. Look at the waterfall, and there's the stream, and there's a little river, and even more trees and more nature and, oops, the interstate. Nope, I didn't attempt this one. I visited Easton, a town with many bridges. And then there was pizza. Later that evening I saw this funny fellow. Even after a week on the road, I still had a hard time getting used to the vastness of it all. There's this gigantic open-air theater in the middle of nowhere, right at the Atlantic coastline. Our Maiden played there, it was terrific. I've seen Maiden for the first time 19 years ago, and this time around they were just as good, playing hits like Aces High, The Evil That Men Do, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, The Prisoner. It was just so cool. On Thursday I went to Manhattan, where the parking signs are complicated and the veggie burgers are yummy. And there's the Simon and Garfunkel homage. And guess what I had for dinner? The last concert I attended was by Sophie Madeleine. Her ukulele music was quite enjoyable and worked very well in the live setting. I was glad to leave the New York traffic behind. Little did I know that the Boston parking situation would be even worse. The next time around I'll stick with public transport. The next stop on my Richard Schindel sightseeing route was Walden Pond, and lo and behold there was no Walden Well, not even a replica. But the pond was there. And there was also the original site of Henry David Thoreau's cabin in the woods. And a statue. And later on in Boston, more pizza. On Saturday I had to get up early in order to move the car, so when I went sightseeing eventually, the temperatures were still quite pleasant and the city was quite deserted. The glass flowers on exhibit at the Harvard Museum of Natural History were very impressive. I mean, all this is made of glass. There were also vultures. Further stops included the JFK Memorial Library and the birthplace of Dream Theater. Once again, it was just mind-blowing how large, how huge, how vast everything was. Und das hier ist feis Renommier-Eichhörnle von der Stadt Boston. By the way, I learned that Paul Revere and the Raiders, the band, were actually named after a historical person. And speaking of history, Philadelphia International Airport has a Lego replica of Liberty Bell. How awesome is that? Does this qualify as Italian food? Anyway, thanks for watching. Bis zum nächsten Mal.